Look who came back home with me. I think I shall adopt him, and I will call him Snickers. Hello, fellow mushroom people! Welcome to this video. Again, I don't know why this keeps happening lately, but I've been talking to you for the past 20 minutes and I wasn't recording. So if this wrap up that I'm doing now seems a bit rushed, please excuse me. I've been doing it before and now I'm doing it for a second time and I hate myself. So let's get started. April actually kind of started quite strong and then it didn't continue that way. Yeah, let's go through the books. The first book I finished in April was The Lamplighters by Emma Stonex. I did a full review on this book and you can check that out. I'll put the link down below. So this book is about the mysterious disappearance of three lighthouse keepers in the year 1972. We follow those lighthouse keepers in the lighthouse and just see what's been happening. We also follow the wives and one girlfriend of the lighthouse keepers in the year 1992 because an author comes around and he wants to investigate what happened to those lighthouse keepers. I really enjoyed the book. You can check out the review for more details if you're interested in it. It's just a slow burn mystery, which has a very interesting premise, and I really enjoyed the book. I just thought that the ending wasn't that strong. And for me, in those kind of mystery books, I think the ending's always very important. And if the ending is lacking, I get the feeling that the book wasn't that great, even though all the things leading up to the point were very well executed. Anyway, if you're looking for a slow burn mystery with some lighthouse action, you can check this book out. So the next book that I finished was for our book club, the Dragon's Library book club. It was our first ever pick and it's The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. So we did a live show on this video. You can find it on Ali's channel over at Bookbench. I will link the video down below where we discuss the book in detail. I think it's an hour long, so you get all the details. It's also very spoiler filled. So let me just not spoiler you. So this book is about a young man named Tao who goes from kinda fighter trainee boy to I don't want to fight in wars at all to I will kill everyone in just 100 pages. And the rest of the book is him leveling up at military school to become the ultimate dual-wielding anime protagonist, YA heroine person ever. He's Tao. He's full of energy and all he cares about is his revenge, and he will stop for nobody and nothing until he achieves his dreams of avenging his father. So yeah, the book is full of battle scenes. It's very action oriented, which, yeah, there could have been more like chapters about the world, because the world itself is very interesting. There's a caste system, there's social injustices. It's also not your European-based fantasy. It's actually based on African mythologies, which is very interesting. But since we only experience the world through Tao's eyes, we only get this very narrow-minded view. And like I said, Tao is not the most interesting character ever written. And there are a lot of potentially more interesting characters in this book. And if we just experienced kind of their view on the world, I think this would have been much better. So I still enjoyed the book overall. And I still want to pick up the sequel eventually, because I think the world itself has much potential to be like a great fantasy epic. But this one wasn't the strongest beginning to a series. And that's why I'm not that excited to read on. So the next book that I finished is Eldest, the second book in the inheritance cycle. I always have to think about it because the German books are always called Aragon and then something below. We're not that creative. The German books actually put the series name on the cover in the big letters, and then they put the actual book's name below in smaller letters. So that's kind of a German thing. So this has been written by Christopher Paolini. I read the first book back in December, and I really enjoyed it because it has this adventurous feeling. You get Aragon, the boy who finds the dragon's egg, and he sets out on this grand adventure to do something. So he travels from place to place. He has some other characters he meets along the way, and it's just very adventurous. This book, on the other hand, follows Aragon training at the Elven city, and it also follows his cousin leaving their home village and going somewhere else. And I have to say that both of those stories were not very interesting. I have to say they were actually quite boring, and yeah, there's no adventuring. There's a little bit of adventuring, but not that much. And I think that this was the strong point for the first book, and since it's gone in the second book, this was a lot less enjoyable than the first one. Also, the characters that I enjoyed most in the first book, Saphira, Aragon's dragon, and Arya, the elven lady, they were barely in this book. They didn't get a lot of screen time, and I thought that was quite sad, disappointing, because they were my favorite things about the first book, and they didn't do that much in this book. Also, Aragon and his cousin, they're not that interesting. They're kind of meh characters. I still want to read the third and the fourth book because I've never read them. So the first two I read when I was younger, when I was a teenager. But now I'm venturing into unknown territory with the other two entries in the series, and I want to finish the series eventually. But if you don't have those nostalgic feelings about the series, I don't really think it's worth picking up. If you've read other fantasies, because I think there's a lot better fantasies out there, and I don't think that those books are that great, actually, I have to say, and I'm sorry, but yeah, that's Aragon. Okay, so my camera stopped filming again. I don't know what's wrong. I just my phone doesn't want me to finish this review. Hello, pigeon. How are you doing today? You want to be in the video? No? You're leaving again? Oh, it's looking at me. It's flapping around. I don't know what it wants to do. Maybe I should let it inside. It's very distracting. But anyways, so let me go on. So the fourth book that I finished in April was Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I picked up the audiobook because I was in the mood for a YA fantasy audiobook. And then all the characters turned out to be like in their late 20s. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? This is not a YA fantasy. Yes, it's an adult fantasy. I had to find out that it was an adult fantasy the hard way. But anyways, I really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the world building. So this is set in a kind of pre-Columbian America fantasy world. And the culture of this place, so we have many different cities, and all those cities have a different culture, and it's very interesting. I really enjoyed the world building. I enjoyed that it was a very slow story. So the story is actually about three characters. One of them is like a kind of chosen one who plays a crucial role in bringing back a mysterious god. So he travels from some remote mountain place to the holy city of Tova to perform this ritual to get this to make the god come back to life. And he ends up on a boat, and there he meets our second main character, whose name I forgot. So she's the captain of the boat. She's from a kind of mere folk, so sea people, and she also has magical powers which make the boat go faster. And so she's the only one who can make sure that he arrives in the sacred city at time. And there's also a priestess in the sacred city. I think her arc was the weakest one. I think her story wasn't that interesting, but we got to see the holy city, and I think that this part was overall quite interesting. So like I said, it's a very slow story, but it has a lot of world building, and I like world building, so also a lot of people say that it ends in a very anticlimactic way. I see why people say that. It does end very abruptly, but I didn't mind that. I think it was very well done. I think it was a good place to stop. I wouldn't have minded for the book to continue because I really enjoyed it. But I'm looking forward to the sequel, which I definitely want to pick up when it comes out. I'm also thinking about buying the physical book just because I want to have it on my shelf, because I can see myself revisiting this world. I think it's one of those books that I enjoy that much that I want to reread it at some point. And that's why I can only recommend it, because I really, really enjoyed this book and it was totally my thing. All right, so now we're getting to the section that I also filmed 2 times already. That's why I will just hold up those books and I won't say anything about them. Those are all the books that I'm still reading, that I still haven't finished. And I won't tell you anything about them. I will just show you the book, tell you the title and the author, and then I will be done. So the first book I'm still reading is The Unbroken by C.L. Clarke. I'm 200 pages in. The third book that I'm reading is The Magicians by Lev Grossman. I'm like 250 pages into this book. The third book that I'm still reading is The Deep by Alma Katsu. I'm like 200 pages in, 180. The fourth book that I'm still reading is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin, which I've read 100 pages of so far. And the fifth and final book that I'll be taking over from April to May is The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I've read 200 pages of this and I'm still going. So, like I said, I won't talk about them. I'm done talking. I've done so much talking. Yeah, but anyways, this is me wrapping up April. April's gone. April hasn't been that great. Also, the beginning of May hasn't been that great. So it's already the 10th of May and I haven't done a lot of reading. But I feel like my reading mood is coming back slowly and that I've been picking up more and more books and that I've been reading more frequently again, which I am really happy for because I want to read and it just wasn't the time in the past month. But yeah, I'm optimistic that May will be better and that I will have more books to talk about. And yeah, see you again soon.